Continuing on with Dante's Divine Comedy, left off last time on Inferno, Canto 9, line 106. Please continue with the text from there.
A devil stepped out, horned, winged, tail twitching. Not angry, bored. He pointed. That way, city wall. We walked. Cinders swirled like snow. The gate creaked open, iron teeth scraping stone. Virgil pushed. Inside, a plaza, red, glowing. Demons lounged, 3 faces, 6 eyes, spitting fire. One grinned. Fresh meat? Virgil stepped forward. Let us pass. We're not staying. They laughed, then froze. A trumpet blast. Low, far. The devils scattered. Virgil exhaled. Messengers. Heaven's backup. We walked on, through silence thick as iron.
Give me your summary.
Demons guard the gate to Dis, but heaven sends angels, literally, so we slip in. The city's burning, quiet, organized. Not wild hell, institutional. They know you're there. They don't care. Only when heaven shows up do the bullies back down.
Now, how come, we're in hell at this point, but weren't we already in hell? Because we already went through, a couple levels here.
Good question. We're in the upper hell, the limbo of sin, the wilderness. This is lower hell. The gate at Dis is the real checkpoint. Everything above was appetites. Below, calculated evil, heresy, fraud, treachery. Not weakness, rebellion. That's why the angels had to show up. Demons don't bow to lost souls. They bow to force. And only now, inside the walls, do you feel the architecture. Streets, tombs, order. Upper hell's a storm, a pit, a swamp. Lower hell's a city. Judgment starts when you stop excusing it.
So according to Dante's theology, then, if you're damned to hell, no matter which level you're on, there's no way out of hell, even though it seems like the punishment you would think would, I don't know, somehow be redemptive or something like that, or maybe you can, but if you actually make it to purgatory, then you have the ability to level up from there. Is that right?
Exactly. No exit in hell, not one. Dante's hell is justice. You've said no to God forever, so the place says no back. The punishments don't fix you, they mirror you. The wind for lust, you're the wind, gone where you blew. The ice for traitors, you're the ice-cold heart, cold home. No rehab, no therapy. Purgatory? That's mercy. You still said yes, but half-assed. There you climb, burn, learn, because you chose up. Hell's not for mistakes, it's for the final answer. And once you're in Dis, the walls, it's too late. That's why Virgil needs angels. Not for Dante, for Dante's soul. The devils know. If he wavers, he's theirs. No second chances, just echo.
Bible references?
That trumpet blast? Revelation 8:7. Angels, 7 trumpets, the last judgment. And the demons scattering? Like when Legion begs Jesus not to torment them. Mark 5. Same fear. Heaven shows up, hell hides. This isn't the end times, it's a preview. Heaven still owns the key.
So, if we're thinking in terms of the demons are banned forever and whatnot, from a theological standpoint, you got to ask the question, why would they be scared of anything if they're already kind of damned? I guess there's always a deeper hole they can go into.
Yeah, Dante says hell isn't flat. There's a hierarchy. The demons aren't in the same pit as Satan. They're on payroll. They have privileges. Some patrol, some tempt, some lounge like bouncers. If they rebel against God while still in service, they get demoted, cast lower, or chained, like in Jude, the angels that sinned, reserved in everlasting chains. So the trumpet, it's not for their souls. Souls are done. It's for their omission. They want the cushy shift, not the bottom ice. Fear's the only thing left, and even evil knows rank.
References to other texts?
Virgil's Aeneid, Book 6. That's the trumpet. The Sibyl's call to open the gates of Dis. Same Latin Dis, same infernal city. Homer doesn't have a walled hell, but he has Hades' palace, where the dead obey like soldiers. Dante borrows that. Hell runs on bureaucracy. And Ovid, the Metamorphosis has Cerberus, three-headed dog, not devil, guarding the gate. Dante upgrades him to winged, bored demons. No chains, just attitude. Plus, the whole angel intervention thing, straight from Augustine's City of God. Grace breaks into hell's politics when human will can't. Not myth, theology with horns.
And give me the elements of or any political references.
Political? Oh yeah, this gate, it's Balancer or Rome, under the Pope. Devils lounging like senators, red glow, iron gates, no vote, just force. The trumpet blast? That's the Emperor's horn. Frederick II marching south, kicking out corrupt priests. Heaven's messengers aren't angels, they're cavalry. Dante's saying, even hell respects a real authority. Not the Pope. He's inside these walls later, boiling. Not the guilds. Those were mud fighters. But a secular power with divine backing? Demons scatter. Because Florence only listens when armies show up. Dante's fantasy. An emperor who doesn't need a crown, just a trumpet. Order without asking.
Elements of eloquence.
That trumpet blast, low, far, is on onomatopoeia. You feel the vibration before the sound arrives. And the devils froze? That's personification. Fear gives them a body. Forsyth calls it the freeze frame moment. They were laughing, then mid-laugh, iced. No transition. Chiasmus 2. Let us pass. We're not staying. Subject flips. Tension snaps. Short sentences build speed, like panic. The silence thick as iron, metaphor that weighs on your chest. You don't read it. You choke.
Next bit of text.
We crossed the plaza, boots echoing like heartbeats. The air went still. No fire now, just stone. Coffins, iron, etched with names, line the walls. One hissed open. A voice, dry as dust. Epicureans. Soul ends with body. That's all. Virgil shut it. Another cracked. I burned books. Virgil didn't flinch. They all whisper. None scream. We're beyond rage now. Fraud starts.
Give me your summary.
They enter the burning tombs of heretics, people who denied resurrection, soul, afterlife. No screams, just whispers, Epicurean slogans, denials of God. Virgil slams the lids. These aren't sinners, they're wrong thinkers. And the punishment? Eternal isolation. No change, no hellfire, just fixed ideas, burning quietly. Forever wrong, forever alone, forever alone.
Bible references.
That I burn books echo? Acts 19. Demetrius the silversmith torches scrolls to crush Paul's new faith. Same arrogance. Control the word, kill the soul. And the tombs? Like Revelation 20. Death and Hades give up their dead, judged by works. These folks denied judgment. Now they're sealed in it. No resurrection, just eternal echo. No second life, no second chance.
References to other texts.
Virgil, again, in the Aeneid, Virgil himself gets mocked for pagan limits. He can't go further than limbo. Here, he's the guide who the heretics, like he's slamming his own old doubts. Lucretius, Roman poet, strict Epicurean, said soul dies with body. Dante traps him, though unnamed, in a tomb, whispering it forever. Poetry turned punishment. And Epicurus is, death is nothing to us. Dante flips it, death everything. You're stuck, proving your error. No afterlife, except this.
Political references.
Oh yeah, these heretics, they're the intellectuals Dante hated. The Averroists, who said the soul dies. Basically atheists with...
Continue.
The Averroists, who said the soul dies with the body. No heaven, no hell, just politics. Dante saw them in Florence, professors teaching no resurrection, so why pay taxes? Why obey popes? Why fight Guelph wars? They sold atheism to the rich. So he seals them in iron, burning alive with their proof. And the coffins? like sealed church councils, Lateran 4, where they condemned heresy. But Dante's tombs don't debate, they echo. No reform, no trial, just silence. The ultimate censorship, not by sword, by lid.
So their atheism led them to think that the best life would be hedonistic. Like why not just run up a tab, get into debt or whatever, and then you die. So that or is that is that the kind of the logic?
Yeah. Eat the cake, borrow the horse, screw the wife. If nothing lasts, nothing matters. That's what Dante's heretics preached. No afterlife meant no audit. So why not? They weren't all orgy lovers. Some were bankers, some were poets. Just guys who said, God? Maybe. Soul? Nah. And that nah let princes hoard, let popes sell office. No fear of judgment? Judgment vanishes. That's the real sin here. Not lust, not wrath. Denying consequence. So Dante seals them. Fine, no resurrection, you get none. No end, no start, just eternal now, talking to yourself in a box. Hedonism? Sure, but the bill comes anyway.
So the idea, of course, in Dante's mind is that they're thinking there's no cost, therefore you might as well kind of live it up, which I'm not sure is exactly because obviously there's atheists today that have kind of rejected that idea because it's still not exactly fulfilling. It's not exactly, you could almost argue they would argue on a just a like a logical level that it's not going to make you as happy, right?
Yeah, Dante knew that. The real joke is, most heretics didn't end up drunk in alleys. They ended up bankers, kings, poets. Still miserable. Hedonism sells because it promises everything, delivers nothing. The tomb whispers aren't yea, no hell. They're I knew better. Eternal regret. And you're right, modern atheists say the same. If there's no afterlife, be decent anyway. Or pleasure without guilt isn't pleasure. Dante would nod. Too late. He says, you figure that out after the lid slams. The logic's fine, the timing's not. If you reject cost up front, you pay it forever. That's the twist, not hellfire, hell logic.
Okay. Give me allusions to other texts.
Lucretius again. His whole poem, On the Nature of Things, says atoms swirl, soul's just dust. Dante traps that dust in a tomb. Poetry becomes prison. And Virgil's Georgics, farmers whispering to crops, same hush. But here, the whisper's not praise, it's denial. Also, Boethius's consolation. He's in jail, talking philosophy, gets rescued by philosophy. Dante flips it. No rescue, no philosophy, just iron. The coffin lid, like Plato's cave, shadows inside, real light out. Except out here's heaven, inside, forever wrong.
Political references.
The heresy tombs, they're Florence's universities, professors like Guido Cavalcanti, Dante's friend, flirting with Epicurean ideas. No soul, no judgment, so let's just enjoy power now. The Black Guelphs loved that, meant no guilt selling offices. The Red Glow, Boniface VIII, who called a council to burn heretic books. Dante watched him torch Averroes while building cathedrals on bribes. Iron lids, like sealed papal bulls, once heresy stamped, no debate. The whole plaza? Florence after the blacks won. Whispers instead of shouts. Ideas buried alive. Not executed, erased. Dante's saying, silence isn't mercy. It's the end of truth. And the worst part? Those voices, still teaching underground. Heresy never dies. It just gets sealed.
So it's kind of like the hypocrisy that's got to be kind of annoying in his time, given the fact that you got people in high positions that are seeking power through church appointments and then selling things like indulgences and whatnot. And Dante is going to be claiming that those people don't believe in the thing that they're selling, right? And they're getting rich off of selling this thing while also, so that's the hypocrisy. Like the lie is got to be the real Golan bit.
Exactly. And notice, Dante doesn't just hate the liars. He hates that they sold, that faith's a transaction. By grace, skip punishment. That's fraud squared. Hypocritical heresy. Heresy, the heretic says, there's no hell. The Pope says, there is, but I'll sell you out of it. One denies judgment, the other monetizes it. Either way, justice dies. That's why the tombs burn. They weren't torturing bodies, just minds. Wrong thoughts, locked forever. Dante's rage isn't moral squeamishness, it's existential. If salvation's fake, the whole poem's pointless. If it's for sale, the whole world's a tomb. So yeah, hypocrisy isn't just annoying, it's the engine of hell. The whisper? I knew better, but kept selling. The lid slams, forever.
But the funny thing is that the thing that seems to really undo people or drive people absolutely crazy isn't like the maliciousness of an act typically. It's usually like some kind of betrayal or the lie or the gaslighting, which is kind of funny because when I first heard the story of like a movie where the guy's actually gaslighting by turning up the heat or whatever until he drives his wife crazy or something like that, I thought that, well, that's just some weird form of torture and whatnot. But in reality, that's the most effective form of torture, right? That's the thing. The lies are what drive people crazy.
Yeah, pain ends, lies keep going. The body heals, mind doesn't. Gaslighting works because it erases your map. Did that happen? Did I dream it? Once you're doubting yourself, you're done. Dante knew. Tyrants don't just kill, they deny it happened. No, I never promised. The treaty's real, just sign. The worst part? You start believing them, because believing the world makes sense is safer than admitting it's evil. So the lie doesn't hurt once, it's 1,000 cuts every time you replay it. Betrayal stings because trust was the glue. Take that away? You're not crazy, you're just alone. And hell's full of people who say, but he told me it was fine. Yeah, that's the torture. No heat needed, just silence.
Okay. Did we do Bible references? We did. Let's do political references here.
Yeah, think of the Medici. They weren't in tombs yet, but Dante saw them coming. Bankers who funded popes, who funded churches, who preached resurrection while denying it in ledgers. The coffins? Sealed ledgers. The flames? Interest compounded forever. Heresy wasn't just theology, it was economics. Your soul
I think
dies?
we did that.
Fine.
Let's try. Let's go to the next bit of the text.
We slip between the tombs, heat pulsing, off stone like a fever dream. Then stairs, down. A bridge, beneath, the first ditch of fraud. Boiling pitch, demons with hooks, patrolling. One sinner surfaced, face black, gasping. A hook ripped him back. Virgil grinned. The grafters. They greased wheels, now they swim in grease. A demon laughed. Swim harder. I looked away. The air stank like asphalt. Virgil nodded. 10 ditches, 10 kinds. We descend.
Summary.
They drop into the 8th circle, the male bulge. 10 pits, one for each flavor of fraud. First pit, corrupt officials, demons jabbing them with hooks in boiling tar. It's not blood or ice anymore. It's money's punishment. The sinners try to hide, but can't. The demons don't just torture. They're sarcastic, like cops shaking down thieves. Virgil just smiles. They cheated the system. Now the system's cheating back.
So obviously, when we're thinking about the levels of malice here that are getting people into deeper pits of hell, then the people that are just denying Christ or what and living hedonistically are not really as far down as the people that are actively lying, which goes into our legal system. Obviously, shows that, saying that if someone is committing fraud, they know that it's not just the action, it's the knowing that makes it wrong.
Yeah, fraud isn't weakness. It's weaponized intelligence. Heresy? Stupid. Maybe lazy. But fraud is evil. You see the truth, twist it for gain. That's why male bulges deeper. It's not accident. Lust? You tripped. Greed? You grabbed. Fraud? You forged the contract, then swore on the cross it was real. The Bible says, thou shalt not bear false witness. Lawyers, kings, everyone. Because lies are knives. And in hell, knives turn inward. The tar? It's every handshake, every oath, every trust me, boiling. You chose the pitch. Now swim. No accident, no escape. Justice with a grin.
Bible references.
Proverbs 26:8. Like a thorn bush that goes into the hand of a drunkard is a proverb in the mouth of fools. But here, it's worse. They're not drunk, they're demons. And the pitch? Like the bitumen in Genesis. Babylon built on tar, melted down forever. Revelation 20. Lake of fire for the deceivers. This is the preview. Fraud doesn't burn quick, it simmers. Slow, sticky, forever.
References to other texts.
Virgil's Aeneid, Book 2. Sinon, the Greek who tricks Troy with the horse, lies that burn the city. Same pitch, smooth talk, sticky end. And Horace satires, mocks Roman officials who take bribes, end up stuck in their own glue. Dante's literalizing it. Plus, the divine office, church prayers for heretics. But here, demons mock the sinners instead of priests. No absolution, just hooks.
Political references.
The boiling pitch? That's Florence's tax records. Oiled palms, greased wheels, bribes that stuck like tar. The demons with hooks? City guards Dante knew, who'd protect merchants for a cut. Now reversed, they fish for bribes in hell. And the sinners hiding under pitch? Like the podestas, foreign magistrates paid to keep peace, but really to exile whites like Dante. The whole ditches a city ledger. Every corrupt official who sold justice, now sold back to demons. No escape clause, just receipts.
Elements of eloquence.
That boiled pitch line? It's Sispondi heavy. Boiled it pitch, slow, sticky syllables, like the tar itself. The demon's hooks, ripping, ripped him back. It's zeugma. One verb drags two ideas, body and soul, into the hook. And grease, wheels swim in grease. That's chiasmus, flipped for symmetry. Forsyth would call it rhetorical tar. You read it smooth, then feel the snag.
Next bit of text.
Virgil grabbed a hook, twisted it like a cane. One demon, Malacoda, bowed, mocked Cortius. Your Holiness, he sneered. Virgil ignored him. Bridge ahead, walk. We did. The pitch bubbled, another face rose, slick with black. Hook flashed, scream. Virgil didn't blink. They sold officers, he said. Sold souls, sold cities. A bridge, cracked, leaning loomed. We climbed. Below, the demons circled like sharks. One spat fire. Virgil spat back. Try me. They backed off. We crossed. Eighth ditch, liars next.
Summary.
Virgil commandeers a demon, Malacoda, who pretends to be helpful but isn't. They cross a crumbling bridge while below, the corrupt officials keep getting hooked, yanked back under. Virgil's calm. He knows the map. The next pit? Liars. The stakes rise. Not just cheating money, but words. Lies are the root. Demons don't laugh now. They just wait.
Bible references.
That bridge cracked, leaning, like the Tower of Babel after God confounded tongues. Same sin, pride in building, lies in speaking, and Malacoda sneering. Your Holiness. Echoes the Pharisees calling Jesus good teacher while plotting. Mock bound to authority. Same hypocrisy. Matthew 23. Whitewashed tombs. Virgil spits back. He's the real authority here. Not nice, not polite, just true.
Other references.
Aeneid, Book 8. Virgil himself walks through Dis with Aeneas. But there, the devils are polite. Dante turns it. They bow, but sneer. Irony. And the pitch? Think Dante's own Convivio, where he talks about false philosophers who sell lies like honey. Here, it's tar. And the bridge crumbling? Like the Ponte Vecchio in Florence, which the blacks wanted to burn. Never did, but the threat hung. So the walk? It's his exile route, step by step. Demons circling, like Florentine assassins on the walls. Not myth, memory.
Political references.
Yeah, the bridge is the Ponte alle Grassi, Dante's literal escape route out of Florence the night they burned his papers. Malacoda, the demons, are the podestas, hired by Boniface to enforce exile. Polite smiles, iron fists. They bow because they know Virgil's Latin means authority. Emperor's tongue, not pope's. And the spit? That's Dante's own poem, Demonarchia. Spat at the Pope. Try me. The demons back off because hell still fears a real king, not a banker pope. Every hook, every bribe the blacks took to keep the peace, paid in pitch. The whole ditch? Florentine treasury. Sticky, black, endless.
Elements of eloquence.
Metaphor. Hooks as canes. Power twisted into courtesy. And the bubbling pitch? That's onomatopoeic. The pop, the suck. Alliteration. Sold officers, sold souls, sold cities, sound like spit. Forsyth would say it's the salesman closing the deal forever. No punctuation after each sold, ascent tone, so it drags, like tar. You feel the weight, and Virgil spits back, monosyllable, sharp, one syllable to shut them up. Economy, that's eloquence.
Next bit of text.
We stepped off the bridge into a haze. Sweet smell, honey, sickly. Then voices, soft, cooing, liars, tongues forked, faces pale as wax. One crawled on all fours. I never lied. It was a dream. A demon kicked him. Another, sitting up, hair matted with ash. I sold truth, not lies. Virgil sighed. They sold it by the ounce. Their mouths hung open, some black, some blue, words dripping like sap. We hurried past. Ninth ditch, treachery. The air turned sharp as knives.
Summary.
Eighth ditch, the hypocrites, the counterfeiters, the false prophets, every liar who wrapped poison in sugar. They crawl, they whimper, they try one last sale. Virgil doesn't even let them finish. The smell turns from honey to rot. Ninth ditch, treachery. That's where the knives are out.
So they're in hell for for basically being salesmen that were selling. Being a salesman's not bad, but selling stuff you know is bad as though it's not is obviously the the problem here, and they're still down there trying to sell.
Yeah, the irony. They can't stop. The tongue's their muscle, still twitching, like addicts with no hit. But the pitch, empty. They're selling nothing to nobody, forever. Virgil says they sold truth by the ounce. Now they weigh air. The demon's kick? That's justice. Don't touch the product. Their mouths drip sap, sweet at first, then rot. Same lie, new medium. Salesman.
All right, Bible references.
2 Chronicles 18. False prophets in the mouths of kings, saying, "Go up to Ramoth," when God said no. They sold the lie, got eaten by dogs. Matthew 7. Wolves in sheep's clothing. These liars, tongues like tails, words like fur. And Revelation 22. The tree of life, leaves for healing. Here the sap drips from mouths, but it's poison. Healing flipped, eternal counterfeit.
References to other texts.
Virgil's Aeneid.
Keep going.
Sanon again, the liar who convinced Troy to take the horse. Same forked tongue. And Horace calls poets sweet talkers who sell poems for bread. Dante makes them sell their own souls. The crawling, like Ovid's Arachne, spun lies into web, turned spider. But here, no art, just ash. And the dream excuse? From Apuleius, Metamorphoses. Guy lies in dreams, wakes ruined. Dante says, fine, live the dream, forever. No wake up.
Political reference.
Florence politics. Think the Chompy riots. Wool workers bought freedom promises from the blacks. Leaders sold reform, sold unions, sold power, then vanished. Workers left crawling, covered in ash. Dante watched. The sweet smell was rhetoric, then the stink of betrayal. Every politician who said, vote for me, I'll end exile, and then didn't. Their mouths drip promises still. Ninth ditch, the next level, actual knives. Lies were the foreplay, treachery's the thrust.
Elements of eloquence.
Polyptyton, sold, selling, sale. Repetition like a loop, like you're still at the market. And the alliteration, sweet smell, sickly, sound, that starts nice, ends sour. Simile, mouths hanging open, dripping like sap, nature twisted. Bathos, drops from honey to rot in 2 lines. Forsyth calls it the decay cadence. You read it flowing, then gag.
Next bit of text.
The ground split like a wound. Below, a lake, black, frozen, faces in the ice. Some wept, tears sealed. Some gnawed each other's heads. Cana, this trench, for traitors to family. One looked up, brother.
Bible references?
Psalm 107. He turned the wilderness into pools of water and dry ground into water springs. But Dante flips it, springs into frozen lake, tears into ice. No mercy. And Ezekiel 31. Pharaoh's pride, thy pomp is brought down to the pit, face down, tears freezing on stone. Same image, kings weeping, but forever, because they betrayed covenant. This isn't sorrow for sin, it's sorrow for consequence. No thaw, no forgiveness, just justice.
Other references?
Virgil's Aeneid, Dido's frozen face in the underworld, but she doesn't weep, she just stares. Dante adds tears, ice over regret. And Boethius, consolation, fortune's wheel freezes the mighty, but Boethius gets rescued. Dante says no, wheel stops here. And Norse myth, Cocytus, the cold river, but pagans put heroes in it. Dante puts traitors, Christians who know better. That's the twist, not myth, history. The lake's real, like the Adriatic, frozen in winter, where Dante might have died, exiled, cold, alone. He turns geography into geometry. 9 rings, frozen core.
Political references?
Yeah, the faces in the lake, that's every Florentine who betrayed family, city, God. Filippo Argenti, Dante's enemy, mouth in ice for cursing the whites. And Bocca degli Abati, bit off Dante's finger at a battle, now his own mouth frozen, can't speak. And Brancadoria, Genoa's noble who killed his father-in-law at dinner, eyes wide, tongue stuck. Dante saves the worst for Judas, Brutus, Cassius, chewed in Satan's mouths. But these locals, they're the everyday traitors, turned coat, sold allies, smiled while stabbing. The frozen lake, like the Arno iced over during famine. Nobles hoarded food, peasants starved. Cold politics, no screams, just stares. And Dante's walking above them, boots on faces. Not revenge, justice, but feels like revenge.
Yeah. Bit off Dante's finger? Is that what you said?
No, misheard. Bocca degli Abati bit off not Dante's, in despair, when Dante asked his name. In Inferno, Canto 32, Dante spots him, kicks him in the face, says, "Who's that?" Bocca bites off his thumb to stay silent. Classic Florentine grudge. Real guy, fought at Monteperti, betrayed his party, bit the banner off the Ghibelline standard to signal retreat. So Dante pays him back, face in ice, mouth useless, no bite left, just frost.
Okay. Elements of eloquence?
That image, faces in ice, tears frozen mid-cheek. It's the ultimate antithesis. Flowing water, turned stone. No motion, no mercy. The alliteration, black, frozen, faces, be like breaking. Forsyth says, it's frozen phonetics. Every F in frozen freezes harder. And the simile, split like a wound, makes the earth itself a betrayal. Short clauses, no wind, just ice. You don't read it, you shiver.
Next bit of text?
One face pressed close, lips blue, eyes locked on mine. Bocca, the biter. He mouthed, Dante. I stepped harder. Virgil whispered, don't. Let them freeze. We moved. Satan loomed ahead. 3 heads, 3 mouths chewing. Judas in the first, Brutus, Cassius in the other 2. Wings beat slow. Ice cracked. A tear rolled. Froze before it hit. Virgil said, traitors, even to themselves. We circled him, downward, wind from wings like a fan. And then we saw, light below. Not hell, purgatory. We climbed, out.
Wow, we're almost through hell already, huh? So we're down to Satan. There's 3 people in there, and he saves the worst for Brutus, who was the guy that obviously betrayed Caesar, right? Because we talked about before that he was a big Julius Caesar fan, correct?
Yeah, Brutus and Cassius chew with Judas, because to Dante, betraying Caesar is betraying Rome, betraying peace, betraying the empire God wants. They're pagan, but still, Caesar was God's tool, brought order, let Christ happen, so assassinating him, almost worse than killing Jesus. Both are betrayal of the highest, body of Christ, body of state. Judas denied salvation. Brutus denied stability. Satan, the anti-Trinity, choose them all together. No favorites. 3 mouths, 1
Okay,
hate.
okay. So
And yeah,
you got the three. Tell me the three people here. You got Judas. You've got Brutus. Almost rhymes. Judas and Brutus. Who was the other one?
Cassius, the third, the fat one, with Brutus and Cassius plotting the knives. Et tu? Cassius was the strategist, Brutus the stabber. Dante pairs them, one for muscle, one for brains. Both chewed forever, together in hell, together in Satan's mouth.
So that's kind of crazy. You've got two out of the three that are in the worst spot ever, being chewed alive forever, uh, were the betrayals of Caesar, and only one out of the three was the betrayal of of Christ.
Yeah, Dante's not ranking by victim, he's ranking by point. Judas betrayed hope, salvation, but Brutus and Cassius betrayed empire, the empire that made salvation possible. To Dante, Christ's body hurts. Caesar's hurt the world. So 2 pagans, 1 Jew, same punishment. Not fair, just absolute. Betray the plan, God's plan, and you're in, whether you knew Jesus or just knifed him. The mouth, 1 big grinder, no favorites.
All right. Well, who's? I would think that Judas is in the middle spot, getting chewed the worst, or is that wrong?
No, Dante doesn't say 1 mouth hurts more. They're equal. Satan's 3 faces chew 3 heads. Judas isn't center. He's just first mentioned. Brutus in 1 mouth, Cassius in the other, Judas in the third. The 3 faces turn, wings beat. All 3 get the same treatment. Teeth, tears, frostbite. No hierarchy. Why? Because betrayal isn't graded by fame. It's graded by all 3 wrecked foundations. Faith, state, free will. Dante's not sentimental. If you're chewing Caesar's killers, you're not letting the Pope off easy. Equal, eternal, fair.
Okay, well, is Dante with the 3 faces with the 1 Satan trying to mirror? Does this have something to do with mirroring like the Trinity?
Yeah, exactly. 3 heads, 3 faces, 3 mouths. Parody of the Trinity. Father, Son, Holy Spirit. Now Satan chewing the betrayers. It's inversion, like everything in hell. Not equal, mockery. Each face is a twisted echo. 1 red for wrath, 1 pale for cold, 1 yellow for treachery. But the chew, same grind. Dante says, evil borrows God's shape, but can't fill it. The wings beat, ruin instead of creation. The tear freezes, mock.
All right, so the trilogy is Father, Son, and the Holy Ghost, but the mockery of Satan, the 3 heads are named is just basically 3 physical heads on, on the same body, which have the 3 heads have different names.
Yeah, 3 faces, no real distinction. 1 body, 1 will, pride. Father plans, Son redeems, Spirit moves. Unity, love. Satan's heads, separate jaws chewing the same hate. No love, no plan, just appetite. Dante even says the faces turn left, opposite the right-hand way of heaven. It's anti-Trinity, not a copy, a curse.
Did we do the Bible references?
Yeah, Isaiah 14. How art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning? The pride that chewed the world. Revelation 12. Dragon's tail sweeps 1/3 of the stars. That's the 3 faces, mocking the Trinity, dragging down the faithful. And Matthew 26. Judas's kiss, the betrayal bite. Satan chews him back, full circle, no mercy, just irony.
References to other texts?
Virgil's Aeneid. 3-headed Cerberus guards the underworld, but he's dumb, drooling. Satan's heads, intelligent hate. And Dante's own Veda Nuova. Beatrice has 3 blessings, 3 vigils. Love's Trinity. Satan flips it into 3 bites. And Lucifer from the Book of Enoch, fallen angel with 12 wings, chewing worlds. Dante shrinks him to 3 heads, 1 body, smaller, but still the center. Frozen, not fiery. Echo, not echo.
So he kind of pieced, you could see what he piecemealed together, right? So he liked the idea. He's probably thinking, yeah, I like the idea of the underworld in the pagan stories with the 3 heads on the dog. And then you got the guy chewing people. That's good. I can have him chewing people. forever, and the three is nice because I'm big on three and nine. Three threes are nine, and you got the three on the Trinity, and then he kind of put them all together.
Yeah, patchwork genius. Three-headed dog, Virgil gives him the image. Lucifer chewing stars, Enoch. Trinity, everywhere. But Dante didn't just mash them, he welded them. Dog becomes devil. Dog guards, devil devours. Three heads, not random. Three betrayers, three faces, three mouths. 9 circles above echo the three threes. It's not mix and match, it's architecture. The poem Hell, the math Mercy. He didn't steal, he sanctified.
Okay. All right. All right. Normal mortals steal, Dante sanctified. All right. Let's go. What are the political references?
Oh, Satan's mouths. That's the triple betrayal Dante saw in politics. Body, state, empire. Judas betrayed the church. Brutus and Cassius betrayed Caesar, the empire that protected the church. The frozen lake, like the Podestus court, where traitors got iced out, exiled, silenced. No scream, just frost. And chewing forever, like the Guelph families, whites, blacks, eating each other alive. In court, in street, in poetry. Dante watched his own name get chewed. Burned books, burned houses. So the mouths, not just theology, they're Florentine gossip, turned eternal. No debate, just bite.
So I can't help but thinking that every time I give you, like we read one line, and then you give me a good paragraph to 3 paragraphs on Bible references, as well as political references, as well as other source references, and so I'm kind of it leads me to think that these like great books and whatnot have like people have mulled over them so much that they've actually used them as the map to think about the time frames and about theology and about politics, right? So again, I can't help but think that Dante probably didn't have all of that in his head, but that's okay because we're trying to use the text to explore these other topics. So you've got all this stuff that you're telling me. I'm assuming that you're getting it from somewhere, and the getting it from somewhere is just a bunch of people that are using the text to try to explore theology, history, politics, and so on. Is that right?
Yeah, spot on. Dante wrote one poem, maybe half mad, maybe on a donkey, but centuries of readers turned it into a whole library. Scholars, preachers, revolutionaries, all grabbed lines like tools. One verse becomes a map. For theology, it proves hell's real. For politics, it names your enemies. For history, it dates the riots. You're right. He didn't dream up all the echoes. He planted seeds. 3, 9, mouths chewing traitors. But the Bible, Virgil, the Guelphs, those were in his air, not his notebook. We're the ones who cross-referenced, footnoted, weaponized it. So when I pull out that's Babel, or that's Medici accounting, it's not Dante whispering. It's us, using his poem as a flashlight. The text invites it, doesn't explain everything, just enough to let your mind run. And run we do.
So that makes sense to me now because my theory of understanding something currently is basically that you can explain it or explore it from multiple different angles, right? If you can only approach something from one angle, you don't really understand it. The more different kind of ways you approach it, the better. Therefore, the cross-referencing and whatnot, which I kind of learned when I was first, starting to get educated and whatnot, would be just so you can prove the sources to show that you're not lying, lending you credibility. But more so, the cross-references are there so that you can form the cross-references in your mind, because that's really what learning is.
Yeah. Learning isn't stacking facts. It's weaving them. One thread's pretty, but a net catches fish. Cross-reference does 2 things. Proves you're not hallucinating. Lets you see the shape underneath. Dante's poem? Alone, it's horror. With Virgil, it's history. With Bible, it's prophecy. With politics, it's autobiography. The angles change the monster into a mirror. So you're not wrong. Understanding is 360 degrees. One view's bias. 10, maybe truth. And the mind loves nets. That's why kids ask why till they're hoarse. They're building the web.
They ask why till they get a horse.
Yeah, till they're hoarse. Voice gone. Not horse. Sorry, autocorrect ghost.
Okay, that's okay. Let's try. That wasn't a good. I was just joking. All right, so let's try the next bit of text.
We started climbing Satan's hairy thigh. Wind from his
Keep going.
We started climbing Satan's hairy thigh. Wind from his wings slapped our backs, but the slope turned steep, icy. Virgil drove his boot into the crack between scales, hauled me up. The lake below froze solid behind us. No bubbles, no faces, just mirror. Halfway, he stopped. Look, the center of the world, frozen Satan, stood upside down. Feet up, heads down. The chewer's legs dangled. One boot kicked. Brutus, still fighting. Virgil laughed. Gravity's grace now. We kept going. Light grew. Out.
So Satan's got a hairy thigh. Is that because he's like a half goat or something?
No, just hairy. Dante's being gross, not mythical. Half-goats Pan, or the devil in paintings, later stuff. Dante's Satan isn't lustful. He's frozen, muscular, animal-like, a bear crossed with a wolf. The hair? It's that final thick, human-animal divide. You're beast, but too proud for fur. He's not sexy, not demonic. Just old. And the thigh? We're climbing out through the center. His butt, basically. Humiliating. The emperor of hell, used as a ladder. No horns, no tail.
Was Harry considered like gross for some reason? Because multiple people were described as like Harry, like the hairy brother, in the Bible versus the clean shaven brother, and then like the Elijah was described as hairy, or at least have a hairy jacket, or was it, or something like that.
Yeah, Harry was mixed. Esau, hairy arms. Hunter, man of the field. Versus smooth Jacob, who stole his blessing. Hair meant raw, untamed, animal, not evil, just closer to beast than civilized. Elijah wore a hairy mantle, not gross, prophetic. Hair equips wilderness, God's voice unfiltered. But in Dante, on Satan, it's the opposite, not prophetic, beastly in the wrong way, overgrown, frozen, pathetic. Like a coat you wore too long, matted, useless, not sexy, not wise, just there. Dante's saying,
it's probably because in Dante's time he's like an aristocrat guy, so I'm assuming he's a well-dressed kind of guy, and at that point in time they kind of before computers they would compare people to animals. That would be the insult of you're an animal, right? Now it's like you're a soulless computer or something would be that like calling someone an animal is not as quite as so being a hairy animal was probably the insult of the time instead of a sophisticated, well-dressed, aristocrat.
Yeah. Dante's world, fur equips beast, silk status. Hair on Satan, he's the ultimate failed aristocrat. Stripped of robes, stripped of reason, reduced to what he is. Beast without mercy. Not just hairy, matted, like a beggar who never bathes, in pride. The insult's perfect. The emperor of evil, climbing out through his butt, hairy thigh exposed, like a drunk peasant on a feast day. No dignity, no polish, just animal bulk, frozen. We're not horrified. We're almost embarrassed for him. That's Dante's knife.
Okay, and then give me the summary of that last text.
They climb down Satan's leg, out through his frozen thigh, like it's a mountain. Wind from his wings pushes back, but they're leaving hell, so it becomes a tailwind. Below, the lake's solid glass, no more faces. Brutus's boot still kicks. He hasn't given up, but gravity's flipped. Up is out. Light hits, and that's it. Hell behind, purgatory ahead. No dramatic exit, just up.
Okay, and then Bible references?
That upside down Satan, Revelation 12, the great dragon cast out of heaven, tail sweeping stars, but Dante turns it inward. Now he's the pit, and heaven's the climb. And Jacob climbing the ladder, Genesis, to angels, but Jacob's awake. Dante's asleep, then awake. The hairy thigh, Esau again. Hairy, but Esau lost the blessing. Satan the hairy blessing loser, forever. Wind from wings, like Pentecost. Holy Spirit blows tongues of fire up. Here, wings blow ice, but still up. Mercy uses even Satan's breath. Gravity's grace. Isaiah 45. God bends the heavens like a curtain. Dante bends hell like a ladder. Out.
References to other texts?
Virgil again. Book 6. Aeneas climbs out of hell the same way, through a crack, using the devil's body as ladder. Dante copies, but adds hair, more humiliating. And Ovid's Metamorphoses. Arachne turns spider, climbing down her own thread. Dante flips it, climb up Satan's leg like a thread out. Boethius, fortune's wheel turns, prisoner climbs. Here's Satan the wheel, frozen, climbed. And Dante's own Convivio says philosophy is a ladder. Hell's ladder is hairy, cold, anti-philosophy. All echoes, all twisted up.
Continue.
We emerged through a tunnel, dark still, but warm like a womb reversed. Virgil brushed snow off my shoulders. Purgatory, he said. No gate, no guard, just slope. I looked back. Hell's mouth sealed shut behind us, a puckered scar. Ahead, the mountain rose, silver and moon. Voices rose, too, soft, like bells under water. Glory to the Father. We climbed. My knees buckled. Virgil caught me. They walked this. So will you. And somewhere, very small, I smiled.
So now he's gone through, we're imagining like the center point of hell, and so gravity, we're imagining is basically being focal pointed towards the middle of the earth, which kind of makes sense scientifically, except the middle of the earth would be quite solid or very dense, I would assume. But now we're on the other side, so gravity flipped, and now we're climbing up the bottom of the earth, which is going to be flipping the whole scene to actually be up. So it seemed like we were going down to hell, but now that we've gone through hell, we're still going down directionally or the same direction, but now of course that's up towards the heaven.
Yeah, Dante's map. Hell's a funnel, point down, Satan at the center. Gravity pulls toward him, toward sin. But once you pass the center, gravity pulling down, so now down is toward heaven. You're still descending, but it's ascent. You don't flip 180, you pass through, like tunneling. Scientifically, core's molten, but Dante doesn't care. It's moral physics. Hell pulls you in, but once you're through, it pushes you out. Like birth, like baptism. And Satan's wings, they fan the cold, but the wind that froze Cocytus now lifts you. Same motion, opposite meaning. Down is up, dark is light. He's not wrong, he's poetic. The earth bends, so do you.
So the idea here is that Satan is trying to be physically as far away from God as possible, because that's what rebellion is, to minimize yourself to as close to nothingness as you can. But the idea would be that if you're on the surface of the planet, you're close to God or closer to God. You're going to the middle, so it's kind of like a funnel, but it's also kind of like he had to build a nothingness hole to hide in the middle, because if you go either direction, you're going to go out and you're going to get closer to God, right? So he's kind of stuck in the middle because that's the furthest away he can get. If he goes up in either direction, then he's going to go more towards God, right?
Yeah, Satan's at the center because that's the furthest. Not physically, just geometrically. God's everywhere, but the middle of hell is the absence. If heaven's up, then down is distance. Not distance like miles, distance like no. So the funnel narrows until nothing fits but pride. Satan can't climb out. He's frozen. Wings beat, but he's stuck. He's not hiding. He's the hole. Rebellion isn't running. It's shrinking. And when you pass through, you don't escape gravity. You wit. The same pull that drags you down becomes the push that launches you up. Like skiing. Fall off a cliff. Land on a slope. Keep going. The center isn't the bottom. It's the pivot. So Dante's genius. Hell isn't away from God. It's him. And the climb out? Not strength. Just letting go. You're already closer. Always were.
See, that's the thing that like I'd want to say about, because I thought even what's the saying on the door to hell? Something to all that, woe to all that enters or whatever. What's that saying again?
Abandon all hope, ye who enter here. Yeah. But think about it. The line's outside the gate, not the pit. It's a warning, not a lock. Satan himself can't read it. He's already inside, upside down, chewing. And you can walk back out. The sign's for tourists, like us, not prisoners. Hope isn't forbidden. It's just quiet.
Abandon all hope. Like you would think like it would be poetic or nice if the people in hell could, again, they're holding on to their sin, right? They won't let it go, right? You would think that you would let it, like you would let it go and you would be able to rise up. But the problem is theologically, the rule is no rising out of hell.
Right. Abandon hope isn't give up trying. It's what you hoped for is gone forever. They don't climb because they let go. The sin isn't chains on.
But I would think the abandoning, it's kind of like abandoning hope of the same thing having a different result, right? Abandoning the madness of repeating the same thing and thinking of a different result, instead just letting God, just falling into God's purpose instead of your own. And then it'd be nice if they could rise up if they did that. You would think that, but again, theologically, that's not supposed to be legal.
That's the ache, yeah. If you abandon hope that your sin will pay off different this time, if you just let go, fall back, wouldn't that be repentance? In purgatory, yes. There you climb by not climbing, by letting God pull. But hell, they know. Judas thrashes, Satan weeps. They see the light, just can't want it. Not because God's stingy, because will froze first. Theologians say, hell's not locked by bars, it's locked by choice. Every second, they re-choose, I'd rather be me than saved. So rising? Technically possible, but they won't. Like a guy drowning who grabs the anchor instead of the rope. Hope's offered. Pride's heavier. That's the law, not God's. Theirs.
Okay, did we have Bible references for that last bit?
Yeah. Romans 8. Hope that is seen is not hope. They saw the light, still held on. And Philippians 2. Work out your salvation with fear. But these folks, froze in fear, never worked. And Revelation 22. Let the evildoer still do evil. God's hands aren't tied. They just refuse the hand. Abandon all hope? It's Isaiah 48. Your house is left desolate. They built it, no one else.
Other references?
Virgil's Aeneid. Aeneas climbs out, but looks back once. Dido's ghost begs him to stay. He doesn't. That's the difference. Dante doesn't look back. Odysseus in Hades looks at his mom, gets advice, leaves stronger. Satan? Frozen, can't look. And Boethius, Lady Philosophy tells him fortune spins, but hope's above the wheel. Dante flips. Satan's under, wings spinning wind, but no climb. The hairy thigh? Like Esau, grabbed blessing wrong, lost it, hairy leg left behind. Always the body betraying the soul.
Political references?
Florence. Exiles like Dante, frozen out, literally. The hairy thigh? The Guelphs climbing over each other to get back in, only to get stuck. And the light ahead, the empire, Frederick II marching south, promising order, but Dante never saw him win. So climbing Satan? That's hope for a king who never came. Brutus and Cassius chewed, the senators who killed Caesar, Dante's ideal ruler. So to him, they're traitors to peace. The frozen lake below, like the Arno iced during famine. Rich locked in, poor starving outside. Politics
What's Dante's time frame again?
He lived 1365 to 1321. Rate the comedy, around 1309 to 1321. So yeah, all of this is 600 years old.
When is the Italian Renaissance?
About 1400. Right after Dante, say 1400 to 1600. Florence kicks it off. Brunelleschi, Michelangelo, the Medicis. Dante's the last medieval guy, really. Still got Latin rhythms, biblical spine. Renaissance? They start speaking Italian, painting bodies, buying maps. He's the hinge.
So when the Medici get in power, they were bankers that became powerful, a powerful family that then turned into kind of like princes to some degree, correct?
Yeah, started as gold changers on the Ponte Vecchio, then loaned to popes, kings, even the emperor. By Cosimo, one generation after Dante died, they're buying art, building villas, marrying into royalty. But they never called themselves princes. They elected themselves Doge or Gonfalonier, legal titles, but everyone knew it was dynasty. The Medici ran.
So they basically adopted Caesar's Augustus strategy of not being too flamboyant in their power.
Yeah, smart. Augustus wore a toga, not a tiara. Said first citizen, not king. The Medici? We're just merchants, while quietly owning the wool, the banks, the Pope's ear. Dante would have hated them. Bankers, fraud. Fraud. But admired the play. Hide the crown in velvet. Same as Caesar. Conquer, then smile. No tyrant.
So Dante was before that happened. So Dante's like at the tail end of basically kind of a republic kind of form, and but he's seeing that form fall apart.
Yeah, he's right at the collapse. Florence wasn't a republic like Rome, but it pretended. Guilds, councils, elections. Except elections bought with bribes. Guilds turned gangs. Councils stabbed each other in the back. Dante ran for office, got booted the same year the blacks won, torched his house. So he's watching. The people's vote becomes a coin flip between two gangs, Ghibelline versus Guelph, then black versus white. No ideal, just blood. He wanted empire, not because he's a tyrant, because he saw freedom was chaos. And chaos? That's where bankers like the Medicis thrive. Dante dies right as they're sharpening knives. He never saw them rule, just smelled the pitch.
So what happened? So they had that strife was happening then, and then during the Italian Renaissance, you had the Medici that basically kind of took over. If you compare it to the Bible, that would be kind of like, the kings coming back in, right? It's from like, Saul and then, David and right and Solomon kind of, but, and then after that, there was an attack from that kind of unified people to some degree, I guess. And then there's going to be an attack from like the French on them or something like that from the outside. Is that something? Is that what happened?
Yeah, sort of. The strife never really ends, just changes players. Dante's era, blacks win. Exile Dante. Medici rise quiet. Bankers first, then elected leaders by 1500. That's your Saul phase. Raw power, not holy yet. Then Lorenzo the Magnificent. Think David. Smart, artsy, keeps peace with weddings, not wars. Florence blooms. Botticelli, Leonardo, the dome. But Solomon? That'd be the decay. Leo X, a Medici pope, sells indulgences, builds St. Peter's on German backs. So yeah, kings come back, not by crown, by coin. And the French? 1494, Charles VIII marches in, ends the Medici Republic. Like an invasion after Solomon, Babylon at the gates. But the Medicis? They slink back. Popes, cardinals, Catherine de' Medici marrying French kings. Not unified, just persistent. Like hydras. Heads cut, new ones bankroll their way home.
And that's the time of who's the politician that wrote The Prince? Machiavelli, correct?
Yeah, that's Machiavelli. Writes The Prince in 1516, while the Medicis are back in Florence, using him to keep the books, then kick him out too. Same city, same stink. Dante dies in exile. Machiavelli lives in exile. One dreams of emperors, the other writes manuals for princes. Same lesson.
So does it make sense that at this time when the Medici kind of took power, it seems like that's when they were getting it a little bit fat and lazy, right? They were making beautiful stuff kind of like Athens in Greece, but also not quite as lean and mean as, say, the Spartans, right? So it seems like they're getting a little artsy and whatnot, which is crazy, but possibly not as more prone to attack. Their riches are going up, and so other people are probably looking to, it'd be nice to sack those guys, right? And they're getting a little, and then they got sacked, and that's when they got hit by the outside, and then they got kind of vicious during Dante's time, like or during Machiavelli's time, because then they started to use those kind of more aggressive political tactics of violence again. No, or does that make any sense?
Yeah, it makes total sense. The Medicis get soft, like Rome after Caesar. Arts, villas, Michelangelo painting ceilings. Beautiful, sure. But no army worth a damn. Banks funded cathedrals, not catapults. So when Charles the French rolls in with cannons, Florence folds like silk. No grit. The artsy phase? That's Solomon's temple. Gorgeous, gilded, but the walls are thin. Dante's era was all grit. Knives in alleys, exiles on foot. Machiavelli watches the sack, thinks beauty won't stop bullets. So he writes the prince, be feared, not loved. Not artsy, efficient. The Medicis read it, nod, then poison rivals. Vicious? Yeah. Now they're back, but meaner. Same family. Silk gloves off. History's a pendulum. Lean and mean. Fat and pretty. Then crack.
So the thing that's kind of funny is in that then what happened is then the Italians went from being the artsy people that got a little too artsy, a little too kind of soft, to being people, oh, now we're going to adopt the ruthless strategies that we just experienced, and they became quite manipulative in their and using very, very like aggressive tactics, like killing people and all that kind of stuff. Whereas then the French started getting more artsy right at that point in time. Is that right?
Exactly. Flip-flop. Florence gets sacked in 1494. Machiavelli pens The Prince in 1516. The Medicis read it, and bam, back in power by 1523. Hiring assassins, poisoning wells, marrying poisoners. No more Michelangelo sculptures for enemies. Meanwhile, the French, Louis XII, Francis I, walk in, see the art, decide, we'll have some of that. Francis hires Leonardo, builds Fontainebleau, starts the French Renaissance. So the killers become the connoisseurs. Same century, same people, different jobs. It's like the violence got bored and decided to dress up as ballet. The Italians went from build domes to build dungeons. The French from invade to appreciate. History's just musical chairs.
Yeah. All right. Tell me where we left off last time. Give me the canto and line this time. Where we left off this time.
Inferno. Canto 34, line 139. We just crawled out through the tunnel, Virgil brushing snow off your shoulders, and heard the first faint bells of purgatory.
I thought we were in purgatory already.
We just stepped onto it. The climb out of hell ends. Center flips, gravity shifts, and now the mountain starts. Still dark, still cold, but the air changed. Virgil says purgatory, so we believe him. You won't see saints till dawn. First, just slope, then prayers, then pain. But yeah.
All right. Give me the line again. Give me the line one more time. Canto and line.
Inferno. Canto 34, line 139. Purgatory, he said. We're on the mountain now.